I am here today with the MotorSynth MK2. I've had it for a few weeks now, and I feel like I have a lot to say about it. I also have a lot to learn about it. It's a really complex instrument. I've been wanting to get my hands on one of these for like over 2 years now. The first super booth that I went to, so I guess 2 super booths ago, that was the first time that I saw the MotorSynth, and I was like, I would like to have one of those. And alas, I have secured one. Disclaimer that GameChanger Audio sent their flagship synth over to me, but they are in no way, deciding any sort of content that I am creating with it. This is still my genuine opinion on the synth and how I've been using it. As you can see, I'm featuring some other gear in this video as well. The Oxy One, which is just the best sequencer. It's my favorite sequencer. Love this thing. I also have the Digitact off to the side, which will be playing drums. I'm also using it as a mixer for the MotorSynth. So this is going into reverb, Empress reverb, and then into the Digitact. And these are all synced up, so I hit play and everything syncs at the same time. If you're looking for more of a hardcore technical review or specs review, head over to GameChanger Audio's channel. They've done that over there. And also there is a lot of information in this video, so if you'd like to jump to something specific, use the timestamps linked in the description. Before getting into the informative part of this video, let's make a deal. This channel depends on you guys, so if you like any of the gear mentioned in this video, you'd like to take a leap and maybe purchase any of this gear, consider using the affiliate links in the description of this video. I would make a small commission from that, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. This video is also sponsored by DistroKid, so if you're finally deciding to officially release your music to all major streaming platforms, use them. Everyone else is, with good reason. And if you do decide to go with them, there is a discount link in the description of this video as well. Use that link. It's another way to support this channel, support what I do. Let's talk about the audio mechanical experience of the MotorSynth. This is a completely new experience that you won't be getting from any other instrument that I know of. Basically, up until now, there's 2 different sonic directions that you could go into. So there's digital sound and there's also analog sound, until GameChanger Audio decided to develop audio mechanical sound. So much like a blender, where if you turn it to a certain speed, it sounds at that pitch. You turn it up, it'll go up in pitch from there. That's like a very oversimplified way of explaining how MotorSynth works. So here, firstly, I'll just turn it on. Let's get these wheels spinning. I'm actually gonna turn the volume off here, and I'm gonna play. So now you're just hearing the motors of the synth. Let's add some more like random notes in here. Right, so if I turn the volume on, you can see that they coincide with each other, of course. So clearly, that's the experience. This is a really loud synth. Of course, if I want to sleep it, I could turn these off for a little bit. And even still, there's like a fan going on here, pretty loud as well. Understandably, there's a lot of movement happening here, and I'm assuming a lot of heat, so the fan is for sure necessary. Another interesting thing is that when I switch from one wave type to the next, the MotorSynth is reading an optical representation of any of these waves on these cylinders right here. On top of these 2 voices, you have a DCO, so this is a digital voice. If I turn all this back on, get those wheels spinning. So you can hear it there. If I was to just solo it. All 3 of these voices can be separated and controlled through different Midi channels, which we can definitely do with the Oxy One. That's something we'll get into later as well. I'm gonna sleep this again. There's still a bit more to be said about the experience playing with the MotorSynth. It's somewhere between being a synth and an acoustic instrument like a guitar or like a drum set or something. If you're wearing headphones or even playing loud through speakers, you are going to hear this along with your riff. Like, it's just part of the experience. And it's to the point where if you touch it, like if you're turning, changing parameters here and twisting knobs, you feel the vibration of the synth, which is a pretty interesting experience. Like, this might not be for everyone, but it makes it feel alive. Like, you could see what's happening. You could hear what's happening acoustically and through the sequence that you're creating. I like this sort of feel. I like this experience, but at the same time, it's definitely something to consider. And of course, it has a very unique aesthetic. There's not really much else like it. On to the most important thing. How does this thing sound? So far through my explorations, I could say that it just keeps giving. I keep exploring new ways of using it. In fact, let's get hands-on right now. We have this first sequence playing already. I've definitely been using the motor voices first and foremost, just because there's a lot more hands-on controls here, which makes them, more attractive. I've been using it a lot for these sort of short, plucky rhythmic sounds, which I find work really well in combination with the Oxy one. So if I hit play on this one, and it's really easy to get gnarly, like right away. Cross modulation. Drive. Right, so you could just distort it right away. I also really enjoy, here, let's soften this up a little bit, this drift and detune knob, which is just a kind of a warble effect. Maybe play around with the analog filter. I'm currently on low pass. I would say the hardest sounding wave is the MotorSynth wave. In terms of the DCO, there's no on the surface controls here, but there is a page for it here. So Alt DCO envelope, that'll take you there. DCO filter here as well. Of course, there are a bunch of presets down here as well, which make for a good starting point. And speaking of presets, if you're into the MotorSynth, there's a good chance that you like to sculpt your sounds as sort of sound design with the instrument. I find that that's one of the ways that the MotorSynth really shines. But if, let's say, you feel like you're stuck, there's also a random preset generator right here. So let's actually just run through a few of them. Let's go. Right, so sometimes it takes a bit to land on something that you like. Although I already like this one. Maybe bring some attack back to this. Maybe change the type to attack decay. Stay in that plucky territory. Throw some reverb on this. Another really interesting and unique parameter right here, which I love, is the accel and brake option. So there's a little graph here. I'm going to bring this one back down to 0, and same with this one. So now this is what it sounds like. So now if I bring up the acceleration, let's say, from, right, so we're getting a pew, pew from an octave up, from a fourth maybe. So these are all just different colors, different textures, different flavors. Same thing with brake. I'll do the same thing and I'll bring that up. We can make this a much longer thing. So now it's sounding a bit more ridiculous, almost like synthy whale sounds, or a synth race car or something. So that's an option as well. I like to keep it a little tighter, a little bit shorter though. So let's do that. Right, so we're also losing tonality here as we get more intense with it. But this is pretty cool though. With reverb, more drums. That drive down a bit of cross mod, drift. And I'm gonna change the scale as well to pentatonic minor. Or no, actually, you know what? There's a scale here that's really cool, Japanese. Restart, let's go. Keep in mind that this is just one wave. Let's add the second wave in here. Oh. There it is. Another thing to mention here is that all of these parameters right here, they're individual to each motor. And this is just the perfect segue. Looking into separating MIDI routing per voice. We've gone through what I think are the two most important aspects of the synth, so the experience as well as how it actually sounds. So far, we've just been using this as one voice. We're gonna get into some counterpoint along with the Oxy 1. We could turn this into a multi-voice instrument, so much like the Digitone. Let me turn this back on. I'm gonna hit Alt and Menu, and I'm gonna scroll over to this page right here. So V1, we'll keep that at channel 1. V2, voice 2, channel 2, and then DCO will be channel 3. Honestly, I'm not sure if we're even going to use this right now, but there it is. If you're familiar with the Oxy 1, I have the matricial sequencer open right here. So this is like a 4 sequencer in 1 type deal. So this is channel 1, this is voice 2, we'll make that channel 2, and then the DCO is channel 3. So now we have 3 separate voices that we could tamper with at the same time. This melody that we were just hearing before, that's this one. Let's add something on the second melody. So even if I just add 2 notes, as you can see, the amp envelope is completely different on the second voice. Yeah, so we'll keep this a melody and maybe we could turn this into a bass. There we go. So I thought that this was just such a fun element of the instrument that really opens things up. It turns this combination into like an idea machine. You can sort of grapple through your parts and come up with some really interesting ideas that you wouldn't with other instruments. The next thing that I think is really useful we're going to take a look at is motion record. This is where you can record parameters in real time to make everything sound a bit more organic. Before that though, let's talk about today's sponsor, DistroKid. If you're looking for a way to officially distribute your music, go with them. I just find they have the best community. They're the best choice, and here's some reasons why. In terms of what's new, they recently released a smartphone app, which makes checking your important DistroKid stats easy and accessible. The app is now available on Android through the Play Store. Essentially everything that you've been able to do on the DistroKid desktop app, you're now able to do through your smartphone. In fact, here's a list of key features that the app offers you. You might want to pause it now if you want to check them out. In today's day and age, we all know how many hats we have to wear as artists and producers. It can just be a lot, so write the music, produce the music. Then you've got to create content to promote it a few weeks before it's released. Then you've got to continue creating content after it's been released to promote it. It's a lot, and I'm not saying that DistroKid does all of this work for you, but they do make it a lot easier for us with the free promotional tools that they offer. The one I use most is Hyperfollow. It's essentially a free landing page or link tree. It's super clean. You could link maybe your latest video, your latest single, other important links you'd like to lead people to. I also use promo cards whenever I release a single. Just select the single that you would like to promote and it'll auto-generate a few different options for you to choose from. Go with DistroKid. It's just over $20 a year to release unlimited music to all major streaming platforms. You keep 100% of your streaming royalties. So many other tools that they offer for someone who's independent, they're made for us. And there is a discount linked in the description of this video if you would like to join. So now let's talk about motion record, which is just so easy to use. So I'm gonna hit Alt and motion record, and I'm gonna play through the sequence. Here we go. And so that filter slot has been recorded. There is a total of 8 slots. Mind you, I should mention that we have some reverb happening here, which is why it sounds so good. give it a bit more cross mod. Drive. This is fun. Up the octave. Elephant in the room, I haven't covered the sequencer yet or the arpeggiator, and you could probably guess why. The answer is right here in front of us, the Oxy One. I find that the sequencer and arpeggiator on the MotorSynth are cool, but I definitely don't think that it's like the reason to go with to choose the MotorSynth, especially when you have something as strong as the Oxy One, or there's many other sequencers out there that, you know, that's what they are, that's what they do. I've said this in past videos, if you invest in a really strong sequencer, then you're never gonna have to learn another sequencer again. I feel like I'm at the point now where I have a high enough quality setup, which yes, does cost extra money. There's just no way around that. But also this is a video about a very specific niche, expensive synth, which costs thousands of dollars. So chances are that you're interested in other things that are high end as well. But my point being that realistically, a sequencer that is 100% a sequencer will be much more focused and stronger than an instrument that has a sequencer in it. Know what I mean? That being said, I'm trying to find creative and interesting ways to use the sequencer on the MotorSynth, so maybe that'll be an exploration in a future video. Another thing about the MotorSynth that really lends itself, and I would argue is in the modular synth world. This is a world that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. The modulation section here is super dense. I still need a bit more time with that to cover it comfortably on this channel. And there's plenty of other hidden gems in the MotorSynth as well, which I will be exploring. But for now, I think that that's enough information for you guys today. Hopefully you got a good idea of the feel of the instrument and sort of just like how it sounds and whether or not it's right for you. Again, if you'd like to support this channel, there are affiliate links for all of the gear mentioned in this video. Use those links, helps me a lot. Of course, like and subscribe, and yeah, that's it. Hope to see you soon.